It's Tuesday, July 1st. In the headlines, Bank of Jamaica holds policy rate at 5.75% amid global uncertainty and stable inflation. Regionally, U.S.-Guyana trade hits record high of $4.7 billion. And in sports, Jamaican youth dominate team to Caribbean Amateur Golf Championship. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, will maintain its key policy interest rate at 5.75% per annum, citing persistent global uncertainty and inflation risks that remain skewed to the upside. The decision, announced following the Central Bank's Monetary Policy Committee meetings on June 25 and 26, reflects the BOJ's continued efforts to manage inflation expectations while supporting domestic economic growth. Signaling confidence in the country's economic outlook despite volatile international conditions, the BOJ stated in a recent press release, quote, "The current policy stance continues to be appropriate to support inflation, remaining within the target range over the next 2 years." End quote. Jamaica's annual headline inflation stood at 5.2% in May 2025, well within the BOJ's target range of 4.0% to 6.0%. The central bank reiterated its forecast that inflation would stay within this band over the next 8 quarters. The MPC's decision comes against a complex global backdrop marked by ongoing geopolitical tensions, shifting trade policies, and unpredictable commodity markets. Nonetheless, the BOJ notes that key indicators, including international commodity prices and domestic inflation expectations, have shown signs of stability, bolstering its outlook for continued price moderation. The policy rate has remained at 5.75% since March 2024, following a series of hikes in prior years aimed at curbing inflationary pressures. Jamaica's coconut industry continues to thrive, thanks to decades of scientific research and breeding spearheaded by the Coconut Industry Board, CIB. Through the development of resilient hybrid varieties, the strategic use of field gene banks, the CIB is helping to safeguard the industry from major threats such as lethal yellowing disease. Botanist and plant breeder Chantel Campbell McTarget, speaking during a recent Jamaica Information Service think tank, highlighted the critical role of the board's research facilities in Portland and St. Thomas.
Having clean material is one of the major priorities of the Coconut Industry Board, right? Our seed garden is established in an isolated area that is free from lethal yellowing disease, as well as free from other potential coconut varieties that can contaminate. When I say contaminate, I mean another pollen from a different coconut can come and affect the pollination process. We have a very strict pollination process at our seed gardens.
The hybridization process involves carefully controlled pollination, typically using a dwarf variety as the mother palm and a tall variety as the father. In the case of the Maypan, pollen from the Panama tall was applied to the Malayan dwarf to create a variety that combines disease resistance with larger nut size.
There were several experimental crosses done, not just the Malayans with the Panama talls, but with the other varieties that are here from the different gene banks. And the Maypan was the one that stood up on top. And by Maypan, I mean the name for the cross between the Malayan and the Panama tall, right? So with that said, this particular hybrid that was produced from that experimental cross, it was used to resuscitate the industry.
While the Maypan remains a staple in the industry, researchers are also evaluating a newer hybrid known as Braypan, developed in 2016.
It has been released for evaluation on farmers' property to see how it will perform in Jamaica. So there are some farmers who has the Braypan growing on their property, and it is performing equally well as the Maypan.
As the CIB continues its mission, the focus remains on creating high-yield, resilient varieties suited for both local and international markets. For 100 years, St. Andrew High School for Girls has shaped leaders, trailblazers, and change-makers in Jamaica and beyond. And now the institution is commemorating its centenary with a year-long celebration, honoring a key legacy of excellence and looking boldly to the future. Danita Rodney has the details in this story.
St. Andrew High School for Girls, a pillar of Jamaican education since 1925, is celebrating its 100th anniversary under the theme, Honoring Our Legacy, Inspiring Our Future. Speaking at last week's media launch, Principal and proud alumna Kiva Ingram says the centenary vision reflects the school's mission to shape values-driven leaders who pursue excellence and serve society.
Our students will stand out as leaders in the society, maintaining a tradition of excellence by maximizing their academic potential, whilst being socially aware, digital, and involved citizens with strong Christian values and moral principles, contributing positively to the strengthening of the nation and the world.
She says the focus is not only on honoring the legacy of the past, but on building a future grounded in discipline, compassion, and achievement.
On these 100 years, we honor the legacy of those who have laid a strong and enduring foundation, one that continues to inspire us as we build a future and carry forward the vision of living life more abundant.
The Ministry of Education also offered high praise, recognizing the school's profound impact over the last century.
100 years of steadfast commitment to excellence is no small feat. This extraordinary milestone is a testament to the strength of your vision, the power of your Christian foundation, and the indelible mark you continue to make on the Jamaican society. Rooted in the values of the Presbyterian and Wesleyan Methodist Church, St. Andrew has championed the fourfold development of young women, shaping healthy bodies, disciplined minds, resilient spirits, and strong community leaders.
The school is inviting all alumni and supporters to join in commemorating this historic milestone, celebrating a century of achievement and building the foundation for the next. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Danita Rodney.
Pancreatic cancer remains one of the deadliest cancers globally, presenting a major public health challenge because of its aggressive progression and typically late diagnosis. We learn more about this type of cancer in this week's Living Healthy report.
Pancreatic cancer is often called a silent disease because symptoms usually do not appear until the cancer is in its advanced stages. Despite medical advancements, survival rates remain low, making awareness and prevention critical in the fight against this silent killer. Dr. Francis Martin, general medicine and public health practitioner, said this form of cancer is not as prevalent in Grenada.
Fortunately for us, from my past years of clinical experience, pancreatic cancer is not a very common cancer here on the island. And I may dare say that in the Eastern Caribbean, it's again not a very, very common diagnosis. thankfully, because the management of it is extremely difficult. And if someone has pancreatic cancer, most likely they're going to die because the treatment can include radiation therapy, chemotherapy, or even surgery, or a combination of all three. But even if that's the case, they tend to have a very, very difficult life. So in Grenada, in my clinical practice, I have not seen much pancreatic cancer at all.
Early intervention remains key in overcoming this deadly illness. Research shows that Grenada's age standardized death rate, ASMR, for pancreatic cancer is approximately 8.4 per 100,000, ranking it around the 17th highest globally. From 1990 to 2019, Grenada experienced one of the largest annual increases globally in both incidence and mortality, approximately plus 5.8% per year. While the exact cause of pancreatic cancer is not always known, several risk factors significantly increase the likelihood of developing the disease. Dr. Martin explained that the risk factors of pancreatic cancer are similar to those of other forms of cancer.
So the risk factors for pancreatic cancer is similar to the risk factors for all other cancers that we know, people's lifestyle, especially lifestyle that include the risky things like smoking and drinking lots of alcohol. But you also find that age in itself, as people grow older, they have a more tendency to form cancers. You may also have a genetic predisposition in a family member who may have had cancer, pancreatic cancer in the past. You increase chances of having it. The specificity of pancreatic cancer, though, is diabetes. Sometimes people with new onset diabetes or very difficult to control diabetes may be at an increased risk of having pancreatic cancer. The other thing is in pancreatic cancer specifically, they tend to happen more in people over the age of 65.
Some of the symptoms and recommendations were highlighted.
Going for your usual yearly check and abdominal ultrasound from time to time may be able to see issues that the pancreas is overreacting, and that can help to early diagnosis. But the symptoms of it can be the usual kind of thing: abdominal pain, loss of appetite, weight loss, tiredness or weakness. Like I said, newly diagnosed diabetes or diabetes that is very hard to control. When the pancreatic cancer grows to a certain extent, it can cause blockage of the bile duct in the liver, and that can lead to jaundice. What you do to prevent pancreatic cancer is the same thing you do to prevent all other cancers. Live a good life. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables, bright-colored foods. Eat less processed foods. If you can stop using meats and processed foods, is best for you.
Pancreatic cancer begins in the tissues of the pancreas, an organ that plays an essential role in digestion and blood sugar regulation. Most pancreatic cancers start with the ducts of the pancreas or exocrine tumors, while a smaller portion arise in hormone-producing cells or endocrine tumors. Christelina John, GBN News.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the story shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has raised concerns about the number of times the central bank has intervened into the foreign exchange market. The Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, says it has intervened in the foreign exchange market 17 times since the start of the year, injecting US $470 million from the net international reserves and withdrawing billions of Jamaican dollars from circulation. According to the IMF, reducing the Bank of Jamaica's purchases in the foreign exchange market would increase supply to end users and lower exchange rates. It says the BOJ's buying activities drive up demand and prices, making the system less efficient. The IMF believes a more hands-off approach would increase the amount of foreign currency available to end users and help reduce costs in the market. Supreme Ventures Limited, SVL, has advised shareholders that it has been granted an extension of 30 years on its existing lottery license. The update was disclosed in a notice posted on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website. The extension provides SVL with a renewed mandate to continue offering its suite of gaming products to the Jamaican market well into the future. The gaming and lottery company launched its lottery operation in June 2001. For the trading period ending June 30, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Alternative energy provider Wigton Energy Limited with 17,474,857 units traded, representing 26.21% of market sales volume. Microfinance company Dollar Financial Services Limited with 8,347,759 units traded, representing 12.52% of market sales volume. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 6,378,507 units traded, representing 9.57% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On June 30, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $81.15 million purchased and US $82.33 million sold by forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.40 per dollar, selling the US at $160.36 and buying the US at $158.96. The Canadian dollar netted forex traders $5.83 per transaction, with selling at $119.37 and buying at $113.54. The British pound yielded forex traders $3.75 in profits, with selling at $218.99 and buying at $215.24. For our credit report tip of the day, behind every strong credit score is a person who decided to stop playing small and start using money as a tool for power, not pressure. Today, I want to share with you transformational ways a strong credit score opens the door to premium credit card perks and how you can harness them to fuel your abundance. Do you have a business trip in New York or a retreat in Bali? Credit card points can cover flights, hotels, even upgrades, letting you invest your cash where it matters most. Also, as you care for your credit score, you get awesome benefits like retreat in luxury airport lounges. Priority pass access means you arrive, relax, and recharge. When you step into the plane calm and collected, you step off with clear intent. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, bilateral trade between Guyana and the United States has surpassed $4.7 billion over the past year, a new record reflecting the two countries' growing economic ties. U.S. Ambassador to Guyana, Nicole Theriot, made this revelation while addressing the 249th U.S. Independence Day celebration on Friday night at her official residence.
Over the past year, we've reached another milestone. Bilateral trade in physical goods alone surpassed $4.7 billion. A new record. The number of U.S. companies working with Guyanese partners continues to grow, along with sustained investment across many sectors. Since last year's event, we've celebrated many new ventures, from company launches and grand openings to groundbreaking partnerships. We've welcomed a new US-branded hotel, joined in launching a new primary and secondary school partnership, brought a US company to Guyana offering the country's first ever industrial 3D printing, and marked the entry of a company specializing in welding and machining services. We even celebrated a partnership that brings a beloved US donut franchise to Guyana. We all know how much these commercial relationships matter. They help shape how Guyana grows, economically, socially, and strategically. Take, for instance, the government's astute decision to deploy US-made scanners at all ports of entry, or the approval of Starlink to expand reliable internet connectivity nationwide. These are strategic moves that support a safer, more connected, and more secure Guyana. And we're definitely not slowing down. We're collaborating on critical infrastructure projects, including the transformative Deep Sea Port, Road, and Rail project. These are nation-building investments that can shape the trajectory of a country for generations to come. As Guyana's preferred partner, the United States is honored to be a part of that journey. And we are committed to helping build a legacy of growth and shared prosperity.
Guyana and the U.S. share a long-standing trade partnership in agriculture, and we look forward to continuing to work with your authorities to advance market accessibility. As our countries actively engage in strengthening our framework for bilateral trade, we continue to be optimistic about the diversification of our trade relations. The U.S. has initiated ongoing efforts to enhance law enforcement and security cooperation between our countries and the Caribbean. The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding on March 27, 2025, during the visit of U.S. Secretary of State Rubio, underscores our joint commitment to addressing common security challenges. The MOU builds on our long-standing partnership and aims to deepen collaboration in areas such as counter-narcotics and the fight against transnational organized crime and strengthening security and defense cooperation. Only today, the U.S. reminded all of its partners about the serious threat with Venezuela as it relates to gold smuggling. And we have received that advisory today, and we want you to know that we are putting enormous resources into ensuring that the threat of illicit gold smuggling that can help to empower or safeguard undemocratic forces are uprooted. As Guyana prepares for its upcoming general and regional elections in September, we welcome the continued support of the United States in ensuring a fair, transparent, and credible electoral process.
Barbados' ranking high in the Human Development Index came out of a struggle, and it's not by accident. That's according to Minister of Labour, Social Security, and the Third Sector, Colin Jordan. He says it's as a result of government, workers' organizations, and employers seeing the benefits of protecting workers. He was speaking during an address at the opening of the Workplace Wellness Workshop in the Henry Fraser Theatre at the Cave Hill campus of the University of the West Indies recently. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Occupational health and safety legislation has enabled Barbadians to enjoy high standards in the workplace. That's according to Labour Minister Colin Jordan. He says what Barbadians are benefiting from today came out of the struggles of the 1930s.
Barbados, though, has benefited from an environment where that struggle after the 1930s did not break out into what we may call war. So the struggle is intense sometimes, but we have worked out how we can sit together as social partners and work through any challenges that we have.
Minister Jordan says over time, Barbados has moved away from the factory-oriented environment to a service economy.
We have to be protectors of our system of social dialogue, where employers, workers' representatives, and governments and government representatives work together to address the issues that confront us generally, but with respect to this week's focus, those issues that confront us in the areas of labor relations, industrial relations, as well, even more particularly in the area of occupational safety and health.
Deputy Principal of the UWI, Professor Winston Moore, says the campus is proud of its contribution in the field of occupational health and safety.
In recent years, the Cayfield campus has expanded its engagement with issues of worker safety and health and public health through several key avenues. Our Faculty of Medical Sciences, for example, trains not only the next generation of doctors and nurses, but also conducts community health outreach, occupational health screenings, and applied research on stress, fatigue, and workplace-related illnesses. Our Faculty of Social Sciences, in particular, through disciplines such as management, sociology, and psychology, continues to explore areas such as human resource development, occupational burnout, and employee engagement, critical issues in modern workplaces.
The Occupational Safety and Health Week of activities will go into its third day tomorrow. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
In sports, we're taking a swing at golf. Jamaica is sending a fresh, young, and talented team to this year's Caribbean Amateur Golf Championship in Barbados. The squad, announced by the Jamaica Golf Association, includes rising stars and seasoned players, all aiming to bring home gold. The event is set for July 2 to 4 at the Barbados Golf Course. And this year, the team is driven by youthful energy and proven talent. The 6-member male team includes Zondre Roy, Aman Diman, Camden Purbu, Trey Williams, O'Shea Hay, and Ryan Liu, with Sean Morris named as a reserve. Leading the charge is Zondre Roy, who topped the men's category at the recent National Amateur Trials at Caymanas Golf Course. On the women's side, it was Matia Issa who came out on top. In Trinidad and Tobago, cyclists from across the country gathered at the Tamana Intech Park, Wallerfield, to compete in the 2025 National Time Trial, hosted by the Trinidad and Tobago Federation. Adrian Lazar brings us the highlights.
Junior and elite cyclists braced the rainy conditions on Saturday morning as they prepared to test themselves in the National Time Trial at the Tamana Intech Park in Wallerfield. One by one, athletes set their watches and began their journey of endurance as they battled for supremacy in the junior and elite divisions. After an intense 7 laps, it was Cassidy Samaru who won the junior female division in 28 minutes and 54 seconds. Tristan Jaichan ended his 14-lap race, winning the junior male category in 43 minutes and 15 seconds, followed by Marcus Lockett in second and third place Jaden Alexander. In the elite female category, Alexi Ramirez won by a 5-minute gap, conquering her 14 laps. Finishing behind her was runner-up Kerry Monatano and Tonya Sonko in third. And in the male elite division, Liam Chapet endured 20 laps around the Tamana course, winning the title in 49 minutes and 37 seconds. Akil Campbell and Tyreek Woods won second and third respectively. Adrian Lazar, TTT Sport.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Pleasant viewing.